A lot of people ask me, how do you find a good niche and how do you build inside that niche fast, get Google to like it, make sure you're doing things right and start making money? I'll just show you real quick. So say you went to websiteinstaller.com and you're going to grab either a website for yourself, one of the new releases, you're going to do the work, you'll watch the videos, or you're going to have us do it for you, professional services, and you come in at whatever level you want, and your plan of attack is pretty simple. The more local and niche the thing is that you're competing for, the fewer websites you need to compete. The more difficult it is to compete, the more websites you need to compete, and that goes on and on. But let me go ahead and just walk you through a concept that you can do right now. You can learn this real quick. So in my case, I'm going to go to GPT-4 just because. If you had one of our websites, GPT-4 is in your admin panel in the chat function in the right sidebar, all the way at the sidebar bottom icon. That chat function is GPT-4. Okay, so when you run it, then you're able to ask a really smart question. So let me just choose homeopathy. Why? Because I'm really doing a project for a guy, and what I wanted to know is which are the best cities to be a homeopath in, right? Like if we're going to go in, put a bunch of websites out in an area, then I want to put them all out in the same area, aiming at the different homeopaths out there. That way I can start to get each one of those guys one or more, leads coming into them over the course of a week or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it is. But here's the point. Each one will just get a few leads, but I'll be able to contact each of those guys as I get them leads, send them the recordings and say, hey, these are leads we've been getting you that you seem to like. If you would like to continue this, we can help you out. How many guys can you handle? Maybe they'll say 25 or 50 a month. Okay, great. Well, if we got 100 websites and each one's getting 1 to 3 visitors a month in the beginning, well, that's 100 to 300 guys to deal with, right? And then over the next few months, it's going to keep expanding. So what we need to know is who wants leads. And so it's good in the beginning to go for the same city, but pass leads to everybody, okay? And then as we're getting leads, we start making the offer. The guys who say no will say no. The ones who say yes will say yes. Whoever says no, we can mask their website to take those, to take that name, address, phone combination, at least the phone, that's what we're really pushing on the website, and lead it to the other guy who said yes. So we don't even have to change the pages. Google will still be ranking them because of the name, address, phone combination, the NAP, but it's hidden from view. There is no likeness issues. Nobody gets to say, hey, you're using us to promote them. The answer is no, we're not. No human got to see your information at all. It was just in the coding. It was not there for the human eye. So what does that mean? That means that even if we scattered all the leads out, we only had like 1 or 2 or 3 going to each different guy, and you think, well, what happens when somebody goes, hey, I want like 40 leads? Aha. Well, we can mask enough websites that whatever that traffic batch is coming through, we can mask so that all 40 of those websites, whenever a page loads, a human will see the phone number we want them to see. If they click it on a mobile phone, it will go to the phone number we want it to go to. So all 40 of those websites will be sending their leads to that one guy, right? And then we still have these other websites to work with, 60 or so. So we can send another 40 to another guy, another 20 to another guy, whatever it is. And as the traffic keeps growing, if those 40 leads who are getting to this guy starts turning into 80 and he can't handle it, what's that mean? We just unmask some of those websites and remask them, pointing at the next guy. So see, this is the value of building in an area. There. Now, that's strategy. Strategy is saturate an area, aim for a bunch of people who see who wants to play ball, and then redirect a bunch of the leads at those people. Okay? Does that make sense? That's not crazy, is it? So this is cool. So I just want to look up what cities are great for homeopaths, and out of those cities, I said, okay, which ones are too big to go after? Which ones are great to go after? And so I said, yeah, tell me, like populations and stuff. And so I got some answers. And I said, okay, let's say that some of this is just too big, like the San Francisco, California. I don't want to try yet because a lot of those guys are web savvy enough. It's a huge population. Portland, Oregon, most of those guys actually walk around to do their shopping. They don't really spend so much time on the phone. Maybe I don't want to go there. Well, when I went through all of this, I say, you know what, Boulder, Colorado. It is a small population. It's kind of tucked away, but the distances are pretty vast. So more people are going to be apt to check on their phone before they go driving through the mountains. And besides, they're not that web savvy, are they? I said, so if I were to concentrate my efforts around there, and especially since they're number 3 on the list for most receptive to homeopathy, I love it. So they're as high as you can get without going into extremely competitive territory. I said, okay, let's take a look at that then. I like niches like that because they're easy to break into. So I just said, how many homeopaths are in San Francisco? You know, homeopaths in San Francisco, CA. That's all I said. And it gave me almost 5 million results. Okay, obviously not 5 million homeopaths, but 5 million pages that have all of these words on them. Okay, so I'm just, taking a gander, right? What about homeopaths in Boulder, Colorado? Same concept. Homeopaths in city-state, homeopaths in city-state, apples to apples. Oh, okay. About half, even less than half, 2,209,000 results. I said, that's great. That takes a lot of the weight off. And then I said, okay, for all the guys that are coming up there, this Holistic A Care, Boulder Homeopathy, 6 Persimmons, Jody Shevins, just these Mandala Integrative Medicine Clinic. Okay, great. So I said, out of those, how competitive are these sites that are on the front page, right? How competitive are they? When people land here, they're not looking for ads. There aren't even ads here. Why? Because you don't respond to an ad for a homeopath. You're trying to choose one that you can resonate with. You really want to know more about the person. So you're interested in reading more, researching more before you choose. So we put on good faces, but we want to be here and we want to be as many of the front page results on the front page as we can. Can we? How competitive is it? So I started opening those sites and doing a site colon check to see how big they are. 6persimmons.com is on the front page. They've only got 16 web pages on their entire website. Okay, a resources page, some chat with someone else, Kathy Thorpe, whoever that is. Particular points they're making here and there. It's rather random, and it's literally 16 results. It's enough. I mean, whoever's doing this is earning it because they're apparently as competitive as the other homeopaths surrounding them in Boulder, Colorado. Let's take a look at another site that's on the front page. That Jody K. Shevins site that's right next to it. 17 results. Again, front page, only 17 results. You only need one like that to know that you can squeeze in there, that you can actually penetrate into that area on the top of the front page because it's not too big. It's not like 500,000 web pages or 400 web pages that are years old. No, it's this tiny little website. 17 results. Are you kidding me? Okay. What about another one? There was bouldermandala.com, but they said we do A, B, C, D, and E. And I said, okay, what about pages dealing with homeopathy? How competitive do I need to be there? They only have 2. It's like, seriously? They're showing up for homeopaths and homeopath, but they only have 2. Only one that even mentions a homeopath. They had 2 pages that deal with homeopathy, or homeopathy. I meant homeopathic. Only one that mentioned homeopathic. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. HolisticAcare.com homeopathy, 11 results. Are you kidding me? No way, right? And then you think, wow, Boulder homeopathy with only 11 results. Are you kidding me? And these are host monster sites. Look at that. That's a host monster logo. It's not even a proper logo. This is not a homeopath logo. That's host monster. I recognize it. Which means I know the limits of their server, of the server that they're on. And they are not on a powerful server. The server is sort of local. It's in Provo, Utah. But it caps out at 16 gigs of RAM. Not our servers. No. That's toys for our servers. We have much more powerful sites and servers, okay? So we can easily overwhelm them with quality of the website, content, page speed, all that jazz. Let me take this further. I went to SpyFu. I said, okay, let me get specific. I'm going to say, who's doing a search for Boulder homeopathy? And it goes, oh, about 40 a month. And I'm like, okay, each one of those guys who becomes a homeopath is worth something like $300 to the homeopath. So, worth an easy $100 to us. But is it just 40? No. There are other keywords, right? Log in to see all the results. But of the keywords they're showing, homeopathy Boulder CO, right? There's 135 more than the 40. That's 175 together. Then there's Boulder homeopathy. Then there's homeopathy Boulder that's got 28, right? I don't know if we need this one for homeopathy school, but okay. So I would log in and find more results. And besides, a lot of people in Boulder will just search for homeopathic terms by themselves, and I'll prove that in a minute. But that's fine, because we're also going to relate very, very directly. Our pages will be in Boulder. They will mention Boulder. Okay, check this out. For all the people that did do the searching, here's a beautiful thing to know. Every one of them clicked at least one of the results. Okay? Why does that matter? Well, you know how you might do a search for something like, can dogs eat onions? Okay, and if you do a search like that on Google, what do you usually see? Well, the answer. You asked a question, you got an answer. And if you could see the answer right then and there, you might not need to click any result, because you don't need to click any result. You got your answer. You're done with the search. You close the page. You walk off. Well, nobody can make money that way, right? Not from that directly. So, I mean, that's great. It's informational. It's useful. We love it and everything else. The website's being picked for that. That's great. And I'm sure Google notices if people aren't clicking, then they're getting the answer right there on the page. And they can tell from where people scroll and seem to pay attention, like the top 2 or 3, best results for that. And then if you're clicking through, they're realizing that that's great. But then you didn't click a result, or you did. Well, when you're doing a search for a homeopath, you're trying to read about it. You want to know who you're choosing. So check this out. This is so high. It's literally everyone, is doing a search for them. And that means a lot of these people up here are also clicking a result. So you can, bet your bottom dollar that the people who are searching for terms like these that we can show up for with a bunch of websites, one of those results they click, they're going to click results. And guess what? We're going to be the majority of the results. Okay. Difficulty. It's another beautiful thing. Difficulty's low. It's 59. Okay. We can do anything up to 70. Once you cross 70, you need stuff like domain age to work for you. And if you don't have domain age, don't try to compete for those keywords, because it's just too much. But 59 is doable for sure. Not only that, it's funny? No one's even paying for clicks, in the sense of ads. So they're just there. When they would have to pay for clicks? If we go and take up their spots and they all get pushed to page 2 and they need to get back on page 1, but they can't compete with us head on. So now they're either going to have to pay AdWords for clicks, or they're going to have to pay us to point the phone numbers at them. By the way, that's actually what the biggest companies do. They get so many different websites set up and shove other results to the site. Whoever's not web savvy goes to page 2. And then they can ask those guys if they want leads and then just offer the leads. Most of the time, those guys don't even know the correlation between them and the websites on the front page per se. But it's always easy to say, hey, we've got a listing on the front page. We can send you leads. Things like that. Or just say, hey, we can send you leads. Anyway, there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. My point is, this is easy money. Okay. So now, if we're going to build a website and we want to make it authoritative, can we? Yeah. I went to AutoAsk and looked up Boulder homeopathy. Why? I wanted to see if I would see Boulder related topics here, but no, it's just all homeopathy stuff. Perfect. So any homeopathy driven data like this, we can start making a homeopathic website from. And we can easily make more than 11 or 17 pages. So we're all over it. So Boulder homeopathy covers homeopathy. What else have we got? Homeopathic practitioner. I can make sure to get in extra pages for a homeopathic practitioner. to grab keywords for them. Homeopath, what does homeopath do? I can get pages built for that, and that way I can, compete in that niche, right? Homeopathy, obviously, that's what I was saying. I just double checked it against a bolder one. It's kind of the same idea. Now what? You can do this with anything. I was just telling a guy, and I've told some people here and there, I watched a person once make a lot of money with mattresses. He had a picture of a Sealy mattress. It was important at the time, and a Posturepedic mattress. And he said, Sealy versus Posturepedic. Which one's better? Click here for the answer, but before you do, copy the code to get 10% off your purchase or whatever it was. And what he found was that simple angle did it, right? Now, when you click through, guess what it does? Brings you into the website where you've got organized answers to the questions about what type of mattress is best. What's the number one best mattress? Is memory foam or spring better? And it's going to get to answer your questions about how allergic you are, or receptive you are, or how much you can't stand the oily smell of memory foam, stuff like that, right? What are the 3 types of mattresses? So as people are figuring this stuff out, they're getting closer and closer to buying what they want to buy. Some people want to read before they buy, right? Because if you just click on an ad for a Sealy mattress, you have no idea if it's better than a Posturepedic. If you ask the Sealy guys, they're going to tell you, of course, Sealy's better than a Posturepedic. So you've got to do a little research somehow, but there you go. How do you make the website amazing? Not only do you create the pages that sell your stuff, but you create a bunch of informational pages that back it all up. And those are all doorways that people flow in through on the way to your sales. And for all those informational pages, you can have pattern interrupts that offer to buy from you. Very simple. It's like a button. You just copy and paste a button going down the page. Insert the button here. Insert it again here. Insert it again here. And then link it to this page, the buy now page. Link it to this page, buy now page. Link it to this page, buy now page, right? And then that way we've just got it cloned, Very simple to set that up. Usually you set up the first button with the linkage and then you copy it going down, something like that. Some people say, well, create some variations going down so it looks fresh. Yeah, you can do that. 4 different buttons. You could go to Google and get the buttons. I mean, it's so easy to get buy now buttons. There's no copyright on those things. Now, because they're just like green, yellow, blue, simple buy now buttons, okay? So unless they flat out say copyright, they're not. All right, having said that, yeah, the point I want to make is now you can take it even further. Where did I go with that? Well, yeah, if you're coming back to Website Installer, whether you're getting a site to do it yourself by watching the videos and doing it yourself, or you're going through professional services to have us do it for you, here's the coolest thing too. Once we get the web pages up, that's not the end of the deal. What comes after that is tracking. And here's what I love. The fact that we can land here and we can literally watch somebody land on one of those websites, right? We can see what they did or didn't do on the website, okay? So this is some guy who landed on the website and started reading and he's looking around. I realized what he was looking for. He wanted to make a call. He got it. He was like, you know what? This right here, I want this. But do you know what? We hadn't finished the site yet. We didn't have anyone from the call yet because we hadn't chosen where we want these websites to show up, like Boulder, Colorado. You know what's funny though? Right now, it's saying it's in Birmingham, Alabama, okay? Welcome, Birmingham, okay? Are you looking for a new innovative approach to wellness and healing? If so, you should look no further than company name, your go-to bone therapist. I mean, it's great, except obviously we didn't put the information in. It's just tokenizes Birmingham, Alabama. Why do I call that interesting? Because guess what I found out when I went to the back? I tracked who the user was by IP address inside our admin panel. The guy here, I saw what he did. I know who he is. And I haven't integrated it, but if you integrate StatCounter into these websites, right? Username, API, password, and project, then it hyperlinks those IP addresses for you, okay? And then that way and not only does it hyperlink them, it gives you some more columns for the country, the state, and the city. Okay, we'll even do one for county one day. And then that way you see right here, right now, where those people are, so you can see if they're in the right area. The website was for Alabama, right? Guess what? Looked up the guy's IP address. Sure enough, that's where he is. Alabama. Okay? He's in some city called Dothan. So right now I'm going to assume that that's close to Birmingham. And either it's close or he knows somebody who's near Birmingham and he's doing the search for them, right? So there you go. My point is we can absolutely tie it all together and make it work and ensure people are having a good experience. If the phone number and stuff was here right now, we would have probably clicked to call. And if it was our forwarding phone number and we recorded it, then we'd already have that recording of that call going to that guy, okay, that we can show later and say, hey, we've been sending, we got you this lead and these other 3 leads or whatever. Do you want to keep this up because there was a good lead? How do we know it was a good lead? Well, we watched the guy. He actually was on the website for the right reason. He was looking around and trying to find who to call. Okay? My fault for not having that on there yet, but that's okay. We'll fix this soon, except that we're going to change it probably. It's not going to be Alabama that we're focusing the site on. It's going to be way over there in Boulder, Colorado. Okay? So we're going to swap that out. It takes a couple of minutes for us. We know how to do that. Even across hundreds of websites, it takes us a couple of minutes. So, yeah, we we have a level of control and competitiveness here that I don't know how to describe. It's off the charts. And so we can auto-generate content that's better than a human can write it, that's more engaging, more convincing, more interesting, and totally unique, page by page, site by site. And then we can monitor live like this ourselves to make sure everything's in order. And then we can tell the websites, go ahead and take it over, do your own tracking and your own statistic gathering, and figure out how to improve yourself to get people to stick around longer. And we have these rules that the web pages follow for doing that. They have goals. They know a certain number of people should watch the video, a certain number should fill out the form, a certain number should join the newsletter. And so they work to hit those goals. Does that make sense? So you can get a niche about anything. Use SpyFu to see if there's traffic at all somewhere in there and whether the keyword difficulty is too high. You can go there and do that. If you want to get a SpyFu account, believe me, you won't rue it. Pricing's cheap. I forget how cheap. It's just cheap. Yeah, I mean, you could come down to like $16 a month and still it would be enough for you, okay? Or $16 a month annually or $39 a month monthly. I go with the 16-month annually. You know why? You're never going to do this once. Over the course of the years, you're going to create another website, another one, or another set to add to your portfolio to just take on a bigger and bigger realm, okay? That's how you do it. Or have us set that up for you. That's professional services, and you keep 100% of the earnings. We just get it all set up and running for you, and then let you monitor from there, take it over from there. If you really want us to dig in and live on your project, then we have to be vested, and that's decrypt my leads. And so then when you go to decrypt my leads, you would claim a position, okay? And then you would choose your industry. And what's good about this, it does your thinking for you about just how big you really need to be, because it's based on the county size. And that makes the most sense. The bigger the county, the more competitive the area, the more expensive to compete, but the payoff is huge, right? The bigger the area, the more the client, so the payoff is huge. You just have to come in at the right level if you ever expect to compete. But if you come in at this level, then you're paying for us to build the project. We build it, maintain it, run it, do all of this monitoring, all of the adjusting on the web pages, all of the goal setting and changes, all the integrations, and figuring out where these guys are from and what we're doing. But then that way, we can make sure it's profitable. So in a case like that, we're getting half the profits, you're getting the other half because you founded it. You paid the money for us to be able to build the thing, okay? I had somebody say, why not just build them all? It's millions of dollars. This is really millions of dollars have to go into it to cover everything. If I was to go nationwide with all these things, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars. Okay, so no, we got to raise money for this until we don't. But or else we're just growing too slow. That's all. But anyway, choose what you want to choose in whatever area you want to go for. You can go for pretty much anything you know in here. It's all affordable. There are things that we do like right now. If you're going for accident attorneys, you're in a really good place because the payouts on those leads are huge, and we've got so much done with that. We're basically just adding the clients to the websites and getting approval through networks. That's it. But if you're getting an accident attorney website now, right, with whatever area, when you get one of those, we give you one that's an equivalent size. It's addiction recovery. It's the same offset. We give it to you in the same area, so it's the same price, but you get it for free. Now, that just means that you're earning half from accident attorney and half from addiction recovery. Get into it now because this deal is ending in days. We are really to the point where we don't need to throw in a benefit anymore. For, you know, everybody who's been getting in has gotten in. A lot of people didn't. They're raising the money or they're still considering what they're doing. And all I can say is, yeah, you're going to want to pick up the pace. You don't want me to say, okay, guys, that's it. Today was the last day. And you didn't get in because you missed it, right? This is good stuff to do because you don't have to do anything. You don't need to pick domain names or anything. You just pay for us to do all the work so that you can ride on our coattails and collect money as we do all the work. Okay? That's a really good way to go. And now's a good time to get into that. So I'm just saying that there are different angles. If you think, but I want all the money and I'm willing to do a chunk of the work myself, great. Go here. And if you want to go with new releases and just get yourself a template and go with it, it's by far the cheapest way to go. If you say, Dave, I want you doing it, then you go to professional services and it's still cheap. May not seem cheap until you figure out the math. For all this stuff we do on the websites, $295 for a year is way less than $1 a day, right? It's like 82 cents a day, okay? For a powerful website that has all the stuff built in, including user tracking and so on, complete with scroll tracking and visuals like this, all integrated, yeah, I mean, usually that's way more expensive, okay? So it's the best deal you can get for the money. And then the higher you go, the cheaper the individual websites become. Like for instance, this $295, if you're able to spring for 10, then they're $224.50 each. $224 instead of $295. You know, you're saving like $70 a website just by getting here. Okay? That's how huge that is. So if you're saying, man, I want to hit this niche, selling mattresses or whatever, and I've got my affiliate links, I've got my codes, and I am ready to roll, or I got my ClickBank, and you just hit this, right? And you're like, Dave, set it up for me, go, you know? Then yeah, we can set the whole thing up for you, roll the whole thing out, make it solid, set up tracking inside the system so that your web pages know what they're supposed to accomplish, and I can let you go on that. You're literally able to roll on that. And one thing that we're going to, the next level of development we're going to get into is more and more self-regulation on the site. There's more and more things we can teach our websites to do on their own so that we have less to monitor manually, and the websites just perform better. They just increase your ROI. Now, having said all that, the last thing that I haven't talked about, but I'll make it a new topic here next, is the intention of saying, how fast can we make money with all this? If you buy into the concept mentally that we can create amazing content and we can monitor how people react to it and then turn it over to the websites to keep improving upon that without us, okay? Just do their job of increasing sales. Then what's left? Paying for campaigns. Facebook, Google Ads, YouTube, whatever fits your project. I'm not the guy for that directly. I do the part of setting in all the rules for the website's self-development. But the idea of running like Facebook campaigns or YouTube ads or Google ads means what? really fast reaction. The websites get a lot of traffic now, so they can start to organize themselves now. And since we can watch the people, you can already start learning if there's click fraud, how rampant it is, if there is click fraud, if there's any reason you really feel you should stop it or not, but you won't stop it because you're guessing. Sometimes I don't trust Google. I think that the clicks are fake and Google knows it and doesn't care at all. And my question is, how come I get so many hits and so few sales, right? Everyone says that. The question is it really me or is it Google? Or is it YouTube or is it Facebook? Everyone says that. How am I spending all this money and not getting any sales, right? Well, what happens when we can see what they're doing? And if it's our fault, we can fix it. If it's not our fault, we won't touch it again. Unless you change the keywords or the strategy somehow. But if you think, nope, I've pretty much covered the gamut, then get away from that platform, try a new platform. But now you know that. If, however, you find, okay, the platform seems to be doing mostly the right thing. Most of the people who are coming are truly human. They act like they're human, but they're kind of lost in my message. Aha, now we know. Why are they lost? Did they come in through a keyword that you wanted, but it's not matching? They got here and said, I don't get it. That's not what I was thinking it would be. Or are they getting here and saying, I can't find what I'm looking for? Or what? So when we can see that, and then teach the web pages how to keep checking for that, then you can trust your ads. Not just that, they'll get cheaper on you because the web pages will rearrange themselves and make changes to hold people's interest longer. And the more people stay on the site, the more things they click, then the better your quality score for those keywords. And Google says, wow, these guys are doing great. And so Google lets you outrank the other guys even when you're spending less. Okay? Usually it's the quality sites that Google, even if Google has crap leads to use up everybody's budget, but they just don't think your website's worth anything, they're going to charge you your daily budget one way or another, no matter what kind of crap leads they get there. How many 5-year-olds click the link to your site for some weird reason? But if your site is actually holding interest and doing a good job, it's helping the community say, wow, that's useful for me. For the keyword, from the keyword they landed on the page and kept reading because it was interesting, clicked on things, watched the video, signed up, downloaded something. Then Google says, whoa, we thought it was going to be a crap site, but it's not. It's a great site. So Google gets rid of all the crap that happens on it, for the most part. And what they do is they make it easier and easier on you. So if your quality score is great, you win the day. Since we have all these monitoring tools in place, this happens. So theoretically, let me just try to explain. The kind of strategy I've been talking about with just getting questions answered, like, hey, GPT, what are some of the best cities in the U.S. to be a homeopath, right? Because homeopathy is better accepted. And it starts answering San Francisco, Portland, Boulder, Asheville, North Carolina, Seattle, Washington, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Austin, Texas. And you're like, great. What about Boston? I was just curious. That's also a relatively strong presence. It's a good idea. And then it's like, okay, of the cities you've mentioned, which have the lower rates of online shopping versus in-person shopping? Difficult, and it just gave some notes. Cities like these may have higher rates of in-person shopping. That's right. You see it on a bus in Portland, Oregon versus a bus in Seattle. If you're in Seattle and you're standing on a bus, driving down the road, and you look back at the people in the bus, about 90% of them are on a device and about 10% are talking to each other. But if you go to Portland, Oregon, and you get on a bus and you look back at the people, about 90% of the people are talking to each other. Only about 10% of the people are on a device. Okay? Portland's a lot more open, air, fresco. What I want really has to do with the fact that I'm walking around and looking, peering in the doors of the different shops to see what's in there. So it's very different. And you're like, that's interesting. And then other metropolitan areas with a more tech-savvy population, But then I thought, yeah, but Boulder's a lot of driving. So those guys are going to check their phone before they just go in and start spending the gas money. And as a result, in-person shopping rates have decreased. People have learned to get on their phones because of COVID, right? So then I came back to this. What's the population of Boulder? And then it's like, okay, you know, my knowledge is old, but here's basically the numbers, right? And it gave me all the numbers. And I'm like, oh, wow. So you cited Boulder as the third best in your lineup, but it has a lower population. But San Francisco's really hard to win, and Portland, Oregon's going to be really hard to win. It's going to be more difficult competing there. I'm going to need more money, more time, more effort. But Boulder, that's like low-hanging fruit. So, okay, I mean, I'm getting my research. I think this is a good idea, so then I go check. And let me just check results, and then let me just start looking through some of those websites as like, holy crap, these things are going to be easy to compete with. Only 16, 17 to 11 and 11 pages. They're all on the front page, and they only have that many pages on their website, like you could count them on two hands. Are you kidding? That's such a gimme. And then you're like, okay, SpyFu. And then you just ask, you know, hey, SpyFu, what about, you know, Boulder homeopathy, right? And you do the search, and you get answers right then and there. The difficulty, mobile versus desktop, if there's enough data, clicked any result, lower, high, all that jazz. You're like, oh, man, that's awesome. Then you're like, how would I build some really good pages? Because I'm going to have GPT build all these pages for me. I'm not going to build them. And in your case, what does that mean? It means that you have our websites build the pages for you. I don't know if you know, but you can build, let's say, 1 page, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can build those 5 pages in about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? I don't care if you say half an hour. You got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages in half an hour. These guys have like 17 pages and they're on the front. You're going to have 5 pages in half an hour. You're going to have like 20 pages in 2 hours, you know? How's that for nuts? And I've got all the topic info I need right here. And I can always click a plus sign for anything interesting and just keep right on going, okay? And so with all that stuff in mind, now I can monitor. You know, I put the content out, submit the sitemaps by hitting the ping button inside the admin panel. You submit the sitemaps by just pressing a button, going, now I'm ready, bap, like that. That's it. Don't press the button more than once a day. And only press it after you make some kind of a change. Okay? Some changes. And then what? Google gets around to reading your site, assessing it, deciding whether it likes it. If it seems good enough, Google will just start showing it to some people randomly to see what their effect is like. So that's our job. We pounce. When we see them land on the site, we see the effect they had, we check it out. If something's broken, oh, we don't want that to happen. We don't want Google to see that happen to other guys. We want to fix that. So we're going to go fix it right away, you know? If we see him lost, we're going to do our best to figure out why. I knew why the guy was lost. He didn't click anything. He was just looking up and down the page. It's like, oh, yeah, of course. He's looking for a phone number to call. My God. And then not only that, but yeah, once you get that in place, it's incredible. Also, the other thing that we're going to do with all those sites, I wonder if I can bring this up. Micro. Here it is. Check this out. One of the sites I was talking about, the pop-ups, right? Don't forget, we can have a call to action slider on the site that just stays there the whole time. We go up and down the page. That's an exit. I'll worry about that in a minute. But you can have this, a pop-up, and it's got the most important stuff right here. It could be a video, FAQ, download the patient guide if there is one, call us now. I mean, all these things can be in the pop-up right here. So either the guy's ready for this or not, you know? That's awesome. It just helps them not be lost over the main important things, okay? The other version of that is an exit module. Let me show you. So instead of this one, I'm going to close it. Say I was reading through the site and I got what I want. See this? There you go. There's your call to action button. On a mobile or on a desktop, It says whatever we want it to say. Oh, shit, I keep forgetting about that. It says whatever we want it to say and clicks to wherever, or it could be call us now, okay? Again, nice and simple. Now, here's the final point I want to make. Normally, we would never do both of these pop-ups on one website, but I was just showing it off. So take a look. Say I've gone through the site and I just didn't buy into it. I clicked on some of the other links or whatever, and then I think, you know what? I guess I'm going to leave the site. And I go to leave the site. When you go, that's just it. This pops up here. This is an exit module. It's your last chance. It's where you make your last ditch offer. You get your coupon code. You say something like 10% off on your next order, etc. Right? You make all this stuff happen right here and get a refill or whatever it is. Right? So by setting all this up, how's that for awesome? It just makes life easy, you know? So I'm telling you the amount of power that we have to get Google to see that people want to spend more time on the site. Because then if they play this video, they're spending more time on the page. You get that? One of the best ways to get Google to like your pages is to get people to watch a video on your page if you have one. Any video, how to, or about behind the scenes or stuff you ought to know if you want to learn anything about this. If you're trying to sell how you convert water, pull water out of air with one of those machines that, you know, creates water out of air, you might even have like a news segment, just a clip talking about how the earth is drying up, you know, in certain regions and how people are running out of water in certain regions. Scare them a little, you know, and then get your water converter today so that those two go together. The video could be anything off the internet. All videos can be embedded into all sites unless they're set private or set unlisted. And then you won't get the code. You won't be able to put it in your site. It just won't work. You can try, but it won't work. Okay? But most videos, 99.999% of them, you can absolutely add them to your site, no matter what they are. All right. Just showing you the incredible power. So getting in now is wise. And if I were you, I'd get in soon because these prices are to kill for. They're a low ball. You want to be in on this, and either you're doing it for yourself, where you're having us like build it for you, and you're keeping all the profits, okay? And it's going to be up to you to log in and make adjustments to the sites as you go. But we can still set the standards. All the stuff that runs automatically, like site monitoring and stuff. You know, as we come up with new rules for that, we'll integrate that in your templates because we always do updates behind the scenes to everyone's websites anyway. Okay, new tools and stuff appear. But for those of you who say, I want you to do it for me, then that's where you go to, you go to decrypt my leads and you claim a position and you go through this. And if you're doing it now, I don't know how much longer I'm going to allow people to get the addiction recovery along with on alcohol, or I'm sorry, well, yeah, addiction recovery along with the accident attorney positions. But it's like 2 for the price of 1. You really, I mean, you get 2 for the price of 1. So if you want to be more competitive and grow harder, you know, it's up to you how far up that ladder you want to go. 2 for the price of 1. Do it now while it's still 2 for the price of 1. It's going to be 1 for the price of 1 very, very soon. Another thing I like about the addiction recovery angle is with stuff like Trink, right? What are the names of some of these things? Fentanyl, something like that, being slipped into lots of drugs. There are more and more people going to addiction recovery centers, so all the state ones fill out fast, and there's overflow in others. And even there have to be government programs to start to give some kind of grants or subsidize some of the nicer clinics just to handle some of the overflow to try to deal with the people on the street who are really going through this badly, right? And I mean, it's a horrible thing, but if you say, wow, I can see how that is opening up, even across the nation, I can see where this is going to become more and more of a case across the nation. Yeah, it will. And it's hit Seattle already. It's not just in Philadelphia anymore. It's spreading. It's really bad because you can sneak that fentanyl into anyone's drugs. And once they've had it, they want it. They want it back, even though they know their body is rotting off. They can't avoid it. All right. So all I'm saying is some of the stuff that's going to make us rich is what it is. But the fact of the matter is we know where to go for it, and those leads pay well. Anything that's big expense means the leads are worth a lot. Okay, a lot of competition for those leads. And right now we're in a place where we can just find our niches and fill in for anything and overwhelm and overcome pretty much anything. But if we build it the right level for the project, that's why we set this up. So that when you're investing, whether you're investing low end or high end, we're pricing it at a price that makes sense for the area. I see guys sometimes say, I just want one website and I want it to be for Chicago and I want to take over Chicago for the industry. It's like, how are we going to do that? You know, how much you want to spend? $295. It's like, you're not going to be able to. Did you see how many competitors you have and how many pages they have on your site? But when you come in at a higher level, we can create more sites and we can create way more topics on each of the sites. We can even go through all these plus signs, which takes this, puts it over here, and opens all this up just continually. So we know how to build authority websites, and we can afford to do it because we're pricing for the amount of effort it really needs to take to get the work done right. And that includes all the monitoring and all the growth. Okay, so you can come in high, you can come in low, you know, you can come in somewhere in the middle, wherever it is that's comfortable to you. And if you come in now, you're getting 2 for 1. And for those of you who already have positions, if you're double thinking whether you want to get into another position now before we close it off, do it. Get your positions now. We've been lining up all the people's positions, asking them to double check and get Moment CRM accounts. We're starting to line up all of these right here for your project so you can watch the people come. And we're going to just keep piling in the automation rules so that the web pages get it. And eventually we'll start reaching out to some guys and seeing who wants to try PPC campaigns. And those of you that know how to run PPC campaigns for yourself and you want to put our stuff to the test, get a hold of me. Let's talk through what you've got, what you need, what we can do, and get your structured ads profitable now. You know, way more than they were before. Get your quality score up. Get your web pages to learn how to reorient themselves to make themselves better. Okay? So that when people go through the pages, they want to stick around longer. All right? I've covered that in different videos. All that stuff's built into the website. It's really amazing. All right. I'll talk to you after a while. Can't wait to see you again. And for those of you guys who are already in, yeah, this ride's neat. And for those of you who say, man, I want to double up before you start shutting things down, yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, just decide, okay, how much further you want to go. And yeah, you can do anything. You can do anything that's in this list, right? And you can even add something that's not in the list. If it's not in the list, if it's specific to your ClickBank product or your affiliate link or your particular offer, say mattresses. I don't think we have anything in here about mattresses. Then you can say mattress comparison, you know, just give it a name, right? And you can put in like your affiliate link here so we know where to send the traffic, okay? And then just decide how far you can invest into it. You know, it's really a question of your budget and how far you want to go. Oh, it does, well, it's doing that because I didn't enter anything. But there you go. So you could do that, mattress comparison, you know, bestmattress.com/ question mark AFFID equals, 192, and there you go. That's the idea. So now we know that's where you need people to land. So when we build your project, we'll build it in such a way that, where did I put the one thing? Right here. We'll build it in such a way that, okay, if there are videos to show, one or more, we can do that. We can have video 1, video 2, okay? And then the final links, like that was a fact, I left the site. The final links, like even download stuff, the final links, literally they can click and it takes them straight to your affiliate link. So whenever they're ready, they can go there, right? So they can figure all that out right from this box. They don't have to try to find it all over the website, okay? That's the coolness of projects like this. All right, I love it. I mean, this is really cooler than anything. And the the call to action, CTA, that's nice to have too. All these things are great. All right, talk to you soon.